Salty Dog Blues. So if you're using Nashville number system, it's a 1, 6, 2, 5. And you hear the 1, 6, 2, 5 as turnarounds a lot, meaning that leading from one part of a song into another. But for this particular tune, that's the whole song. Is you have a measure of the 1, a measure of the 6, the 2 for 2 measures, and then the 5 for 2 measures, back to the 1. And so you'll also hear them kind of vamp or rest on the 1 while they're waiting for the solo to start or the vocals. Lester Platt and Earl Scruggs version is in G. So you've got a G, E, A, and a D, back to the G. And there I'm hitting roots and fifths. So whenever I say G, I'm hitting the G and the D, and so on. What's kind of a great exercise is this takes, if you're looking at the circle of fifths as a pie, it takes a little slice of that pie and you get to kind of work your way around it. And going in fourths, after you go from your 1 to your 6, the fourth up from an E is an A, fourth up from an A is a D, fourth up from the D is back to the G, which is where you started. So people will also refer to this as around the horn. So you hear this in things like Alabama Jubilee, and there's other examples too. So back to this exercise. You can take Salty Dog Blues and put it in every key, and it will help you to get to know your bass neck. So if we started in G, let's just move up from G. So if we were going around the horn here and then went to C, so if you're thinking where your C is, so you've got some options here. If I'm on this low C, my 6 is an A, so you could play the open A, then your D, then your G, back to your C. So that's with using open strings as much as I can. You could also, if I had my index on this low C, then my pinky on the E string is going to hit an A, which is my 6. But here, because I run out of strings, unless you have a 5 string, you'd have to rotate up. So you have your 1, 6. Then you have the D, right? So then you could either move up from that and then again to your C. So it helps to kind of decipher where things are on the fingerboard. You've got this low C, you've got this high C, right? So here, if I'm starting on this high C, my root notes are all in a line. As I've got this high C, I jump down, that's an A in a closed position, D, and a G, back to C. And if you're wanting to get the root in 5, right, so you could, but that might not necessarily be the most interesting or musical way to play this tune, you know. And it kind of works, right? But what I like here too is if I've got this spread between my fingers, or I've got a whole step between my index and my pinky, I can go find that other C. So if I don't necessarily want to hang out on that C all the time. And then I could also find my open strings. And I might do a note in there in between to lead. There's also a nice walk down from the 1 to the 6. But that's kind of getting ahead of ourselves. So now let's go to F for a moment. I think I can demonstrate things better here. So if I've got my index finger on F, which is now this is my 1, here's our new key. So here, you don't have to change positions if you don't want to. And just for getting to know your bass neck and for the purpose of this exercise, it's not a bad way to go. So if I've got my 1, my F and my C, right? Root 5. I'm going to do a closed position D with my pinky for the sake of argument in this key. So then right above that, since I'm going around the circle of 4s, then I could drop down to my C here. It's also an exercise, and if you can sing in every key, right? So you can also shift if you want. You could, so that you have your index finger on the root each time. That's not a bad just shifting exercise. So I'm shifting a whole step because here I went from my F, which would be a 3rd fret, to a closed position D on the A string, which would be your 5th fret. So again, I've got F, F and a C, and a D and an A, G and a D, C and a G, back to F and a C. So that's an F, right? So now let's keep going. Let's do B flat. So you can first just kind of orient yourself, you know. So here's your 1, 6 and a 4 and 5. There we go. Get me in the right key. Since I'm running out of room, running out of strings there, you could go do that low B flat too. So that's another thing too with this, is you can try it in different octaves, right? And you may see that certain octaves you might like part of it, but not the rest, right? So it's good to know how to get there. Okay, so that was B flat. If you have E flat, right? So again, your index, pinky, pinky, index, pinky, index. So that pattern would work. So if you've got your E flat, C, F, and a B flat, back to your E flat, right? So that same pattern works in A flat. So again, we're doing this as an exercise, but you might start hearing places where you can do the ghost note or little fills too. So